Merry Bowl season, everyone. I'm Brett Gibbons with thelines.com, and today we're breaking down the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl between Air Force and Baylor. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the Lines YouTube channel as we're here breaking down all 41 bowl games and a national championship this postseason. Let's get into it. Armed Forces Bowl. Air Force, Baylor. Baylor's favored by 4. This one kicks off Thursday, December 22nd, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Has an over-under of just 43.5 points. There's a few facets to that. Number one, ball control. You're playing a service academy. They always slow down lower scoring games here. But another thing we really need to pay attention to here is the weather. This is a game that is going to be affected by the weather. I'm not talking rain. I'm talking extreme cold. We're talking record cold in the Fort Worth metro area. Highs in the mid-teens. Winds are going to be gusting 20, 30 miles an hour. These are close to record numbers for this area. And those of us from the north, I'm in Ohio. You're looking at, mid-teens. Well, these guys can play through it. These cities are not built to be in cold like this. These teams, Baylor, I should say, is not used to these kind of cold. So it is going to cause disruptions to the game planning. It could cause disruptions a day or two before as this gigantic winter storm and Arctic air kind of move through the entire country. North Texas is not spared. But we're looking at Baylor, open as a 3.5 point favorite. They climbed to as high as a 7.5 point favorite, and that has rolled all the way back down to 4. Pay attention to later movement when we're talking during the week, late week market movement, or in terms of bowls, just when it was closer to kickoff, because that's when sportsbooks raise their limits. And when limits get raised, the higher rollers, the sharper money starts coming in on this, and people are putting more money down on a side. So when it moves a line significantly, I'm paying a bit more attention to that later movement than earlier movement where there's smaller limits. 3.5 points back in favor of Air Force. I know a lot of this is in response to the weather that they're seeing come in, because the triple option, the ground game that Air Force runs, is a little bit more designed for adverse weather conditions, right? There's a glare. Now let's talk matchup. Finally here, there's a big problem off the bat. Baylor's defense is 110th in rush EPA on the season. You are playing a run exclusive team. Dave Aranda's team has had 3 weeks to prepare for the option, but 110th in rush EPA on defense, not great. They actually fired their defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, after this season, after regressing so far from where they did. I know they lost personnel, but it was night and day between these two defenses in the past 2 years. Baylor's also playing without starting safety Devin Neal. He's their 6th leading tackler, has a pair of interceptions on the year, so just note that. The Falcons, Air Force, they're not going to beat themselves. We know this about service academies. Every time we talk about one, we do have to bring it up that this team will not turn the ball over in a critical place. They're not going to commit crippling penalties that beat themselves. They play very smart. They're very well coached, especially Air Force, the best of the service academies this year. So if you want to beat them, you're going to have to control the time of possession. I know that's such a Franconian way of thinking of things. It's so stripped down, but it is true. In 2 of 3 losses this season, Air Force lost the time of possession battle. And when every single game that they won, they also won the time of possession battle. Sometimes it really is just that cut and dry. Can you control the ball and keep it away from this team that's just going to grind that clock down? The one exception this season was against Utah State. They gave up a season high in points at 34. No other game has come even really remotely close to that, where Air Force did actually win the time of possession battle, but lost the yards per play battle, allowed a couple of explosive touchdowns late, and lost that game. And we're looking at Baylor. They actually can play the time of possession ball. They're 12th in the country in time of possession percentage, 54.6%. I know a little bit of that does come in playing in the Big 12, where there are explosive plays like TCU, right, hitting those explosive plays and they get the ball right back. But Baylor, they have a good offense. It'll be interesting to see how they operate under these extreme temperatures, though. And again, I know there's folks here looking at this, rolling their eyes like, come on, it's cold, but it's not that cold. Again, the city, the team, the people here are not built for that kind of cold. They are not physically equipped for this kind of cold like folks in the North and the Midwest are, right? Air Force was actually one of my favorite contrarian bowl picks. I saw a bunch of steam going toward Baylor, and initially I leaned Baylor, but when you look into it and you see this disparity on the ground, that is a huge problem. There's a lot going on for Baylor. Again, only 6 wins this year. They were a massive disappointment coming off of their Big 12 championship game, and the Armed Forces bowl, played in the rival stadium, in Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. Kind of a kick in the groin, right? It's a consolation prize for them. And so I like a more motivated Air Force here that's going to be a little bit more excited to get up and go for this. They know they're looking at these guys. They're Texas boys. They're not built for this cold. We're from Colorado. We got this. So if you're looking at a motivation or a momentum advantage, it's going to Air Force. They have the advantage on the ground. They have the style advantage in the weather. 10-year bowl coaching experience advantage. That matters a lot. Coaches that have the experience win about 58% of the time outright. Right. So we're talking about underdogs winning the game outright. Underdogs win about 36% of all bowl matchups outright as well. So if you're going to be taking points with these teams, you may as well be taking shots on the money line. However, you're betting into a negative EV play if you're picking money line. It should be about 165 given the spread here, but I can really only find 150s, 155. So if you can find 165 or better and that spread does not change, that is a plus EV play. That's when I would actually pull the trigger on the money line. Problem is, though, a lot of the value's gone on Air Force. They were plus 7.5 earlier. So if you're following along in our Discord, you may have seen someone betting a plus 7.5 here, and you would have been able to jump on that number. So remember, don't just bet a team to bet them, right? If value's gone, just move on. If the value is gone, just move on. But if we're just picking winners here, I like Air Force. I'm going with another outright underdog, back-to-back outright underdogs here. I do like the Falcons in this matchup. But again, if you were on our Discord, you would have found that early number. So please hop on over to our Discord where you can connect with over 4,000 sports betting fans, get live updates on our college football server. I'm talking player opt-outs, potential injuries, coaching changes, just anything that you need to be prepared to bet bowl season successfully, to win your bowl confidence pools, to know more than your friends. We're going to be doing that all December long. And if you go on over to the Rolls server, drop an emoji under my name, you're going to be getting my live bowl bets because I'm going to be putting them in that Discord. You got a notification straight to your phone. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the Lines YouTube channel, daily bowl videos just like this one, and comment, which side do you lean in this game? Am I overemphasizing the weather factor here? Do you think that Baylor is the bigger, better football team? Or are you thinking, yeah, Air Force is probably a good outright winner here? But thank you always so much for watching. I'm Brett Gibbons with thelines.com, and have a very merry bowl season.